Welcome to poLight's third quarter presentation. So the normal agenda, joining me today is CFO Alf Henning Bekkevik. Also the board chair, Grete Viksås, is here for anybody who could mingle and discuss with her. Key events, introduction to poLight for those who are new, and I'll see a few ones. Operation and market review, financial review by CFO, outlook statement, and Q&A. There is normally a lot of questions during the Q&A, also today I expect. For those who would like to give questions through the web portal, please leave your contact details in case we need to do offline reply. And also for those who would like to ask questions from the audience, our board chair will hand out the microphone so that everybody can get the questions being asked from the audience. Key events in the quarter. I think we have to say that's a relatively soft quarter, although we have been super busy in supporting many customer projects and on different, I would say, improvement projects ongoing in the different parts of the organization. We did, though, receive quite an important and strategic order related to this Mini 2P microscope from a company who is actually planning to develop this system and manufacture the system, selling to the different labs around the world. And then also, always good with repeat order. So we had a follow-on order from a machine vision code scanner customer from China. So for those who are new to poLight, poLight is having a unique tunable lens, optical lens, which can be tuned by putting a voltage on it. And tunable lenses are more and more talked about and will be key technology in many market segments, we believe. It's been a long journey. 2005 we started, that was the invention. It was a part of Ignis, this polymer. And from that, some very clever guys and ladies invented this polymer, was a fantastic basis for replicating the function of the human eye. Strong IP. We are a small team, 40 employees, give and take, very much distributed throughout the world. As you can see from the top right, we are placed where we find talents and where we have customer and partners. Of the 40, only around 15 is actually in headquarters in Horten. We were listed in 2018, so that has been also a few years, but up and downs on the Oslo Stock Exchange. If we're going to say 4 things about our technology, it's super fast, probably the fastest on the market. So meaning that you can change focus really, really fast, so that basically the human eye doesn't notice the change. It can make very, very compact solutions, which is important for many applications. Also this annoying field of view change, this what you call breathing or pumping when you change focus, is something we don't have because we don't move any lenses, we just deflect or bend. And then more and more important in many market segments, basically a state of the art when it comes to low power consumption. So I like to compare this to the function of the human eye. And I think it's also important to stress that what we have is a technology platform which can realize different type of products. The products which is already in market is the tunable lens, but there are other products development which can realize other function based on the same technology platform. So again, back to the human eye. The human eye has a lens, as you know, and there are eye muscles surrounding the lens. The brain give a message to the eye muscles to squeeze the lens, then you change the shape of the lens, hence you're changing the optical power and where you are focusing. That's basically your human eye. And we do the same. The thing is that the lens, in our case, is a polymer, a gel. It is the eye muscles is a membrane which you can see on the top left corner. That membrane can bend. The center of the membrane is transparent, so that's where the lights go through. And when you put voltage on that membrane, it starts to deflect. Polymer being just below that membrane is then being shaped by this deflection. And hence, you are changing focus from infinity to close, and anything in between, depending on the voltage. So simple. And when I first joined this company, I was amazed that it was possible to innovate such a component. And I have to give all credits to those researchers who made that happen. And when they saw this and got this idea, they saw that this is a super good technology for small compact cameras. You can see on the top right, it's a very small component. It's compared to the tip of a pen. You can see that membrane. You can see the yellowish surrounding the hole. The hole is transparent, the lights go through. The yellowish color is the piezo material, which is bending, making the membrane bend when you put voltage on. So really, we have different versions of this T-lens. And from a manufacturing perspective, we are fabless. The only thing we do is producing the polymer. It's a very scalable. 1 liter polymer is 1 million lenses. Take very little space, so we can handle that ourselves with a few people, and we do. And the good thing about that, then we don't need to share any recipes with anybody else. This is the start of the company. This is the heart of the company, and we have a lot of high competence people who have been developing this over the years. This is a component we have full control of, and we can tune for different characteristics. So then we have the lens, and then we need the eye muscles, and that's what is done at ST MEMS fab in Milano, Agrate. So they are producing out of the fab is coming a big 8-inch wafer, which you will see a picture on this side. That wafer comprises more than 2,000 eye muscles. And these are basically what you see on top here. Those are the singulated dies on that wafer. Super difficult development phase. I would say that the innovation part of the company was, I wouldn't say easy, but it was relatively quickly innovated and prototyping was built. The last, say, 5 to 10 years has been all about being able to manufacture it with a high reliability and quality. And that has been super challenging. Many is asking me, what about IP? What about protection? I would say, to do what we do, you need much more than IP. You need a long and a lot of investment to make it happen. So it's a protection in itself. So that has been a big investment for the company. So basically then we have the lens, we have the eye muscles. We ship these components to our assembly partner now in the Philippines. Now everything is happening in the Philippines, both assembly and testing. And then we are producing, you're kind of dicing the wafer so that you have singulated dies. You dispense polymer on the back of the die, and you do a pick and place with back window, which is closing the system. That's basically the steps. All, I would say, standard assembly, pick and place activities. And we have been working with our assembly partner for more than 10 years. We moved from Taipei to Philippines, but it's the same company. So we then sell T-lens, either a bare T-lens without any clothes or packaging, or we sell it, as you see on the bottom here, with a package surrounding the die. And the reason for that is that sometimes it's easier for the customer to integrate that packaged T-lens because it's less sensitive. It's a little bit sensitive lady, this component, and needs to be handled with great care. and that's why we have those two options. The driver ASIC, which is doing basically the voltage from 0 to 50 volt, is a purpose-made driver by ourselves, which we sell as a product also needed when you buy a T-lens. So when we sell a T-lens and a driver. And then we are doing all what we can to convince as many OEMs, product owners, that this technology is great. And then these are, I would say, a lot of the sales and marketing effort we do is directed to these product owners. But of course also different camera module players is important to massage and support and train. So we also are doing, of course, a lot of activity towards those. But in a way, it's very often the OEMs, the product owner, who is, I would say, dictating the camera module player what to do. Okay, and this component we have is very well suited for small compact camera solutions, and there is a roadmap how we can take this to kind of bigger camera sensors, and there is also a roadmap how we can take it to even smaller sensors for endoscope as an example. And this is things we are investigating more and more, and are building a stronger team to do accelerate those tasks. Yes, we are focusing on I would say the three left T-lens windows: consumer, industrial, and augmented reality, or AR, or MR, or whatever you will call it. Those are the three key areas. And also, I think it's important to say that very much the same product goes into the different market segments. Then, I would also fair to say that we are more and more seeing other application areas, and I think the two most interesting ones at the moment is automotive and healthcare. But we are rushing it carefully because there are so many activities related to these market segments that we need also to be careful not to spread too thin. I've been CEO in tech companies for 25 years plus, and the recipe for disaster is not having focus. So we need to be careful not to be too spread also in doing this. It helps, of course, that we basically don't have kind of very specific products for these different market segments. It's basically the same platform we are selling to these different markets. So today then, after years of investing, and thanks to investors and shareholders and those listening to us today for the support, which has been very long lasting for many of you. And hopefully one day we will give you the should I say, return you are expecting. It's been a really a long journey for many of us. But in 2000, late 2000 was it, we started to see that we finally, after a lot of qualification process, finally we started to get design wins. And you know them all, most of you. The latest one is Meizu 20 Infinity phone, a super good phone. I know that many of you have that. It started with the smartwatches for kids, and we are still exploring that market. And also we have a webcam, which I know many of you are using. So that is the consumer side. When it comes to machine vision and barcode reading, we have quite some good and important references. You can see Honeywell, Superlead, Hick Robot, Teledyne, and then there's one unnamed one, also Chinese, which are all very happy with T-lens. And we can see as an example now that Superlead is now actually using our technology for not only one product, but basically for 4 products. This is a little bit difficult for us to actually monitor, because in a way we could be more vocal about that. But sometimes it just happens, and without us knowing. Just last week, this week in Shenzhen, there was a machine vision show. And suddenly we saw one of our existing customer showing a new product with TLens, which we didn't know about. So this will, I think, will be more and more normal that things are happening without us knowing. In the beginning, you know, they need a lot of support, but now they are skilled themselves to do it, and it's difficult for us to follow everything in detail. Even though I know that you hate me for not making noise enough about what's happening, but sometimes it's really difficult to. Sometimes you find out faster than me, to be honest. So that's this is starting to be a very, very important reference platform. I remember when in the beginning, when we were out selling without any design wins, super difficult to convince customer when you don't have any references. Okay. So let's move into, that was a little bit the intro, and let's go into operational market review, focusing on the market. So I would say consumer for us is still quite challenging. You can see that there was one question which I got yesterday, which is in a way true, because you can see that some of the camera module suppliers in China do report a little bit better situation. It's very much related to, the fact is that, yes, in a way that's true. We haven't really seen so much of it, but it's true because you have seen Huawei coming back. That is hopefully triggering some new dynamics that people need to kind of step up on the innovation side. But what you also see is very related to the back cam. And as you know, we are not still in that space. We are in the front cam. But you can see that the specification of the back cam is starting to be tougher and tougher, meaning that the value of the back cam and the camera module supplier are uppricing that back cam, meaning that they see better revenue and better profitability. But there's still, I would say, the volume is still very low compared to what this was from a smartphone device. But there is a back cam, or the camera is something which they are emphasizing on, and they're investing a lot. But it's very much related to the back cam as of today. So the focus of the quarter was smartphone and I would say augmented reality cases, which I believe is where the innovation is happening and will happen for many years. I think the innovation in the smartphone is very, very low. It's same shit, new wrapping, with some new megapixels in the back cam or what have you. But it's the innovation side on the smartphone I think is flattening out, definitely. And I think the innovation will happen here. And that's why we focus a lot on augmented reality MR cases. We also do webcams, laptop, smart homes, wearables, definitely. But as I said, the cost focus is kind of, I would say, currently, I would say, damping the cases we can explore on the smartphone, as long as we are not addressing the back cam, which we are starting to do. We have 4 design wins. There are 37 completed POC, so there is progress. There is ongoing POC 3, and there's planning POC 9. Let me see what's happening here. There's no doubt that having a smartphone on the market is helping us a lot in the communication worldwide. So demonstrating this Meizu 20 Infinity is I would say giving a lot of interest and a lot of from a performance perspective, a lot of positive feedback. I mean the speed, the smoothness, the very small hole in the screen, it's quite unique, and they brag about it also. If you look at the Meizu 20 Infinity statement from Meizu's own webpage, they say that among other highlights, its selfie camera is equipped with a hybrid lens T-lens, latest innovation of the company poLight, which aims to revolutionize the autofocus in our mobile devices. So they are really, we were participating in the release event in Shanghai, and you spent a lot of time talking about that Meizu 20 Infinity phone and poLight. So that was a great experience. I think the cost is today a challenge we have. And it's not so much about T-lens. Of course, that's also we try to sell that as costly as possible. But it's also about the add-in design, which we talked about a lot, has a relatively few players who can do it, and they know how to price it. So that's a little bit the problem, is the system level cost, or should I say price, which is making a VCM-based camera module or even a fixed focus camera module in a selfie camera being very, very competitive compared to a T-lens module. That is status today, but we don't think that will be the status forever. So key action to secure further development in smartphone is of course focusing on maturing and cost optimizing T-lens based camera module solution. But we need to look at the camera module solution, not only the component. So we need to address both component, of course, and system level. Component cost is very linked to volume, and that we learn as we go. System level aspects is, of course, in control of the camera module supplier, which we try to support as good as we can. So we are actively developing the capability and relationship with more camera module suppliers, and of course existing, so that we can get that cost competitive into that design also. Then we, step by step, we will address higher value applications in the smartphone area. And then we have to look at the main camera, the back-facing camera, the camera on the back, which we are working on. We are doing reference designs for telephoto, wide field of view. We have our own lens designer in the team now in Tampere. So we're doing a lot of work there, and we are in dialogue with key players regarding this. But I think also it's important to say that the sensor format in the back camera is huge, and we need to also have an evolution with a T-lens to make a T-lens which is better fit and having a bigger aperture size, which is our roadmap and which we will do. So another key action, of course, is to communicate the Mate 20 Infinity phone. Finally, we have that, and that's key. As you can see from the pictures on the right here, which is taken by the Mate 20 Infinity phone, it's super good. You can see focus both close and infinity at the same time using a prototype Alma Lens software. So this is creating also a lot of interest still, and we do this much better than any other actuator technology like VCM. So all these actions we are talking about here is important, and they're also key for other market areas and specifically for the AR MR space. Yeah, so here we can see an overview. I don't need to go through the details, but here you can see based on the icons there, you can see what type of application we are addressing. And this also includes T-Wedge. AR, MR, I should say. Yeah, you know the drill. Key selling points, ultra compact size, very low power consumption. You can imagine a glass like an all-day wear glass, how important it is to have low power consumption, because there's not a kind of a big space for battery, as an example. Fast focusing speed key, constant field of view key. Think about a see-through camera in VR. If that field of view change is there, which is very annoying, you will be basically seasick. So having a T-lens, which is having all the attributes, but in addition to that, having a constant field of view is super important for the user to not get basically sick by using VR glasses. No gravity no gravity impact. You are moving your head. You better not have any effect on the imaging quality there. And these small units will during use will change temperature, and that what we call design with T-lens is by design. It's compensating for temperature drift, so that if not having a T-lens or a AF, a fixed focus camera will drift out of focus. Yeah, I think here is a super important market for us, and I feel that it continues to develop very positive. The last couple of weeks we have been engaged with big customers having a high attention on TLens, and they are communicating in a way which makes us very motivated and encouraged that TLens will be a super important component in this market. And we're talking about significant players. So we are already shipping to Magic Leap. If you have $3,000 or $4,000 going by, super impressive glasses for enterprise AR. And then we also have a design win with LLVision, which are shipping already. And those are relatively, Magic Leap is the biggest one and the most known one. The LLVision is also super nice application, but they're shipping in smaller volumes. That's a little bit, the cases we see are relatively small volumes. In addition to the design wins, we have 5 design-ins. 2 of them may be launched end of this year, but there is a risk for further delays, nothing to do with TLens, nothing we can control. There is definitely one of the design wins is delayed, that we know for sure. The consumer cases we have one of the design-ins is consumer related, is progressing extremely well. I was myself visiting the customer and they showed us an extremely convincing prototype demo for an all-day wear application where they use TLens to, I would say, improve the display. And I would go so far and say that without the TLens, the thing wouldn't work. Super interesting case. Then in addition to TLens, as I mentioned, we have a technology platform where TLens is doing 2 glass membranes, polymer in between, and bending like this, deflecting. That's TLens. T-Wedge is doing tilting, creating beam steering, which is used for making a low resolution micro LED, as an example, display to a much higher resolution. Micro LED display is known to be a trade-off between brightness and resolution. If you get too high resolution, you lose brightness. So instead of doing that, you could use T-Wedge as a wobulator to enhance the resolution by beam steering. Super interesting. We had a roadshow a couple of weeks ago in the US showing our technical sample, workable technical samples. Super important feedback from key players. So then one day we will be in TLens and we will be T-Wedge. So we'll be in 2 products in those type of glasses. Think about that. Huge strategic positioning. I've said it before, I said it again, a T-Wedge, is still a product where we have only, I would say, a de-risk prototyping program ongoing. We spend some millions, but we are still to kind of make the business case and convince the board that this is a good thing to do, and that I hope to take that decision within this year. And then after that, we will of course report on progress on that development, and when and if launched to market as a commercial product, we will also of course start to report that as a separate line. 2 design wins, 5 design-ins, completed POC 13, ongoing POC 11, and planning POC increasing still 14. And here you can see the mix between the greenish is more the enterprise, whereas the yellowish is consumer. So you can see quite a good mix between those different stages of process. And it does include T-Wedge also. Industrial, SuperLead, follow-on order worth 1.15 million NOK, And you can see the picture here. This is the latest one they use. It's a sister company, in my understanding. So step by step, they are using it more and more. Now in 4 products, I mentioned already. Currently 5 companies shipping with our solution. We know that a few of them are also thinking of expanding even more the use of TLens. And then there are a new customer which is in the process of qualification of the technology. 5 design wins, 1 design in, so that's new. So meaning there's 1 customer who has now decided to use TLens and is in the qualification phase and have decided to release that in, we expect, first half next year. 30 completed POC, 12 ongoing POC, and 7 planning POC. Here you can see again the split. Actually there is a little of a reclassification on the design wins because we experienced that many of those we have is actually machine vision cases. And that one is typically the classic barcode reading from Honeywell. The rest is basically machine vision. Machine vision means typically a place where you have, in a manufacturing line, you are having cameras to monitor the plant, the manufacturing assembly. And whereas the barcode reading is typically, say, supply chain related, warehouse related. We hope that one day that we will be brought into product which is closer to point of sales where the volume is higher, because there are barcode reading cases which represent millions actually. So I think step by step we hopefully can get into that part. So the eye is the machine vision cases. The handheld barcode scanner is the traditional barcode QR scanning. And you can see there are also other applications which is not related to barcode scanning or machine vision, different type of application which is only represented by these dots. Last market, healthcare. Senokor, many of you are following that company very closely. Our understanding is that they do experience some unexpected delay. They did human trials. As far as we know, they have went back to the lab to look at some redesign for reason we don't know. But we are in contact with them and they are still very keen and using TLens. But there are some delays. We don't know more than that. So I guess some of you have very close contact with Senokor, I know. So you need to find out more. But that's the situation. But still an important case for us. Our cooperation with Kavli is extremely interesting and has actually, to be honest, given us more than I dare to expect. And it's giving us a lot of, it has significant revenue also. We see more and more universities, or I should say labs, using us. We also, as you know from the release, we have also a company now who is starting to develop this system for commercial cell. It all started with Kavli, who I met Moser and his team in Trondheim, and they are super enthusiastic about TLens and what that does for them. You can see here, this is us visiting the team in Trondheim. You remember the sketch, they're using 4 T-lenses stacked on top of, on a you can say, mounting fixture here. They're using a glass kind of transparent section hole in the mouse head, and they are imaging through that glass and to study the reaction on the brain, activity in the brain, by imaging that using T-lens. And this is what he's saying. He's saying that this is the key, guys. T-lens has been instrumental to achieve the performance of the Mini 2 system. The speed and the temperature stability of T-lens is much better than any other tunable lens we have tested, implying we can achieve results we've never been able to do before. This is very important for our research to understand the mechanism and information coding in the brain. We have seen a lot of interest in our work from many other research groups around the world. TLens will continue to be important for our future solution, Dr. Wei-Jiang Song says. This is super interesting cases for us, and we see more and more activity around it. Not only in that area, but these guys are publishing in very well-known and recognized journals. And of course, this is helping us a lot also when it comes to other healthcare application. 1 design win, 2 design-ins. On that 17 POCs, there is several endoscope cases, but there are also several type Kavli cases. There is one which I'm getting a lot of questions related to that. There's one which is maybe particularly interesting. It's a big player in the endoscope world, 85% market share guy, and that program is progressing very well. All good so far. There is a long process, but we expect that there will be important milestone being a design in discussions in the first half next year, potentially, if things goes as they plan. Automotive, not so much new in the quarter. Only, I would say, confirming that this is a really tough market, but also it's a market will clearly states there is a need. There is a need for autofocus in automotive, and why is that the case? Well, the sensor format, the resolution is increasing, and hence there is a need for AF, basically by design. And this is happening inside the car and outside the car. We do see, we have started some testing to characterize TLens for this kind of use case. Still early to say whether we need to change or not change anything, but there are definitely very tough demands. What the market is telling us is that they don't believe a conventional mechanical moving components can survive in such application area, and that's why TLens is one of the candidates they are considering. Early days, significant potential if we are successful, but don't expect some quarter by quarter big news flow in this area because it will take time. But we also need to have goodies for the next 10 years to come, and not only in the short term. Pipeline, as you can see, 12 design wins, 8 design-ins, 85 completed POCs, 46 ongoing POCs, and 41 planning POC distributed among these verticals. Even triggered me to make this graph, and you can see here how planning POC, ongoing POC, and completed POC, how that has developed over the years since 2020 Q1. Quite an impressive activity, and let me see, we can feel it on the body. Alf Henning, would you help me with the financial review?
Sure, thanks. And good morning to you guys. Deliveries of TLenses and ASICs gave 3.1 million in revenue in the quarter, compared with 5.3 million the same quarter last year. The EBITDA loss was 20.5 million in the quarter and 11.3 million in the third quarter last year. The main reason for the increased or decreased EBITDA is we have a little bit more heads. As I've been told, we are strengthening the team, so approximately 3 more heads. But also there are some expenses related to the share options that are higher this quarter compared with last year. And I should also mention that we have some projects, so the external expenses from quarter to quarter varies a little bit. That also explains that it's a little bit high, it's higher this quarter than last year then. On the balance sheet, we have had approximately 132.8 million at the end of the quarter, compared with 84 million at the end of last year. Inventory at approximately 70 million this quarter. That is an increase from 45.6 million at the end of last year. So the inventory has increased by 3.3 million in the quarter, which is mainly wafers from ST Microelectronics. On the cash flow, we started the quarter with 153 million in cash and used 20 million during the operations, compared with last year with 19.6, so approximately the same spending as last year. And that is the share option expense that I mentioned doesn't have cash effect, most of it. There's a little bit portion related to security, social security, that has a cash effect when the share options are exercised. So at the end of the quarter, we had 133 million in cash. Thank you.
Thanks, Alf Henning. So the heads Alf Henning talks about is coming also with a full body. So we have them all in. Outlook. Yeah, consumer markets remains challenging for us, and we don't see any very, very clear sign of improvement. I could, of course, be a little bit more optimistic, saying that, yeah, but things are happening. Yes, they are happening, but so far, I cannot say that it's extremely visible for us. But we continue pushing, and we believe on changes. We will continue focusing on, as the key action I mentioned to strengthen our position in the smartphone will be a very important activity. And that has a direct, I would say, relevance also for other markets like AR/VR. AR, VR, MR, key market for poLight. I'm super optimistic about this. There's a good match between the market need and the properties we can offer, and also for TWedge at a later stage. As I said, automotive healthcare market being explored could become very important. Alf Henning mentioned that we strengthening the organization, and we need to continue that. Of course, that will increase the cost, but we need to build this company. We need to capitalize on the opportunity this company have, and that's why we take this investment. We think it's super important for shareholder value over time. That's it. So now we open for Q&A. Alf Henning, would you like to join me?
Yes.
Last time I forgot to open for questions to the audience. I will not forget this time, so remind me if I do. So that's it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have more space.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, first question. With all the growth in POCs and projects combined with all the completed ones, will poLight be able to serve all if they suddenly decide to launch a product using TLens?
What a problem to have. But of course, it's a good question, and this is why we need to strengthen the organization. This is why we have to build inventory to be ready when things happen. But I'm looking forward to the problem.
When it comes to operating and financial targets as shown in the second quarter 2021, with ambitions of a revenue at $100 million and 20% EBITDA margin, what's your honest thoughts about that today?
I only have honest statement, to be honest, but now, of course, as we have said before, we haven't really updated that, and we have stopped kind of doing that guiding. It's so dependent on the ramp on the consumer side, short term. So I think it's fair that statement is still, I would say, a very good statement to have and a target to have. But I think also compared to 2021, even though we have the first assignments, the current climate in the market means that this has been shifted to the right, and then we have to see how much to the right.
Can you provide an overview of which compact camera module manufacturers supply which projects are shown in the TLens customer wins image that you have shown?
I know. This is a little bit sensitive because they don't necessarily like a lot that we are bragging about this. But assuming that, I think anyway, there's a lot of, you have been digging a lot. So I think the major one is, we can say it's Sunny Optical. Sun and Xiaomi watches is a company called Truly. Maxhub is a company called TSP in China. Magic Leap and LL Vision is together with Ofilm. Honeywell is doing it themselves, together with their lens partner. Superlead is using JSX Vision, I believe, and Teletyne have used quite a few, but the latest one is a company called Isatec. And Hickrobot is doing it themselves. The unknown guy, I think, also is using JSX Vision. So we are working with very many different camera module suppliers.
Okay, you said last quarter that you were investigating a back camera concept. Can you elaborate further on this?
Yeah, it's basically, so far we have been looking at telephoto, where, telephoto is folded optics, and the lenses start to be very heavy, and the stroke is very long. So moving things are starting to be really challenging. So there, I think tunable lenses can have a future. So that's one, and the wide field of view also. There are many cameras on the back, and one of them is a wide field of view. Those two, we think we have something to offer. Having said that, I think we need to also be aware that the image, the sensor format is starting to be really big, and it's pushing the limits of existing T-lens, and we need to probably have an evolution of making a bigger T-lens, which is an our roadmap. Be aware.
Many smartphone OEMs are pointing in the AR direction. Is it so that they were to go for a T-lens in an AR solution, that they have a higher chance of going for T-lens in their smartphones?
I think it's a fair point. I think there's a synergy between that. As when you start to work with a customer using it for certain areas, they are more, I would say, used to it, and they're more tempted to use it more widely. They also like, when they first take an investment in a technology component, they would like to not do it for one case. They would like to really use it for different cases. So I think it's a fair statement, yes.
Why is AF more important in higher megapixel cameras?
Yeah. Higher megapixel normally means smaller pixels. Smaller pixels will typically mean more sensitive for defocus. That's why.
Regarding light field solutions for webcams that were mentioned some years back, how is this progressing?
It was proven to work very well with T-lens actually, but it seems it's not ready for mass pickup. The partner we did that with is still working with us with other application.
Okay. iPhone has mentioned 3D imaging for future phones, where they use two cameras to achieve this. Isn't this a good match for T-lens attributes?
I would say so, and speed and constant field of view is super critical for those kind of application. But again, we need to adapt to big sensors.
How can T-lens in back camera improve user experience?
Same way as we do in any camera. Smoothness, speed, all in focus, touch and refocus. I think same characteristic which in any other camera.
Can you elaborate more in what poLight can contribute to within the automotive industry?
Yeah, I think we mentioned that already in this presentation.
Meizu 20 Infinity have won at least 2 prizes for its great design. It must prove that T-lens add-in is enabling high performance with low screen penalty. Did you get any feedback on this?
A lot. all who we demonstrate the Meizu 20 Infinity phone are really impressed by many aspects, among those being mentioned here. Absolutely.
poLight has been mentioned in some market analysis papers where poLight is listed as one of the emerging players within both medical and light field. Can you say something about why you are mentioned in this context?
First of all, you need to show me that report. That would be nice to read. But I guess it's just the same reason. It's a tunable lens, it's compact, low power consumption, speed, constant field of view. I think same reason I feel. So and tunable optics is there to come. But please let me know where you read this, because that was interesting.
It seems like the trend around tunable and liquid lenses are increasing. Do you see use cases where tunable lenses is key that will accelerate this trend?
Yeah, I feel that all the key market segments we are selecting to focus on, I think tunable optics will be key. And I think it's a matter of time before we start to see that.
Do you expect module players to be able to manufacture T-lens modules at a lower price anytime soon?
Yeah, I think competition will take care of that, and also maturity of the assembly processes will take care of that. So I think over time they will, but of course they also camera module suppliers. They also try to maximize the pricing. Of course, they are not a high margin business, so they really try also to maximize the profit. So when they come with something new and great, they want to sell it as expensive as possible. I have had so many discussions with camera module suppliers how we can massage this. I think it will happen, but I think it will take some time. It will take some competition, and it will take some maturity and more volumes.
Why should VR players choose T-lens in their cameras for see-through?
Yeah, see-through, I mentioned it briefly in my presentation. I think see-through is quite an interesting case. I think all the good things about compactness, speed, power consumption are super important, but this constant field of view, if you have in a see-through camera, if you're starting to see something pumping and being not stable, you will be really, really uncomfortable in using it. And I think that fact that we are having no field of view change is a key attribute for see-through camera.
XVisio have 3 AR glasses on the web page that uses 3 13 megapixel autofocus camera, the CLens 1, CLens 1 Pro, and CLens 1 ST. Are all these 3 using T-lens?
No, only one of them. So then they had plans to deploy it to other models. That may happen, but today it's one of them.
Are XVisio on track for releasing AR glass with T-lens this year?
I would say that's one of those which has been announced delays for us, but we don't know details.
Are there several customers using Teledyne 2MP Mini B with T-lens? Are there any income from this project worth mentioning yet?
Teledyne is very active promoting. I think also they know, I think was mentioned here in one of the quarter presentations, they also used it for the 1.5 mega unit. There is it's a very niche application, so it's very low volume. I would say for us has been insignificant from a revenue perspective. So that's why we haven't been bragging so much about it. But they are definitely seeing them around the world in different shows, kind of doing marketing and selling this solution. So I think Teledyne is a big company. Hopefully that will pick up one day.
Among camera model makers, we've spotted T-lens with Sunny Optical, O-Film, Teledyne Sharp, Kantatsu, Shenzhen United Optic Technology, Chinanji Jinzhou Optical, G23, GSL, DMEGC, Labmaker, and Leopard Imaging. Did we miss any stars in this T-lens parade?
I think you need to practice on your Chinese, Alfenning.
Yeah, I do.
And so do I, by the way. Yes, I think you missed quite a few, and that's what's quite amazing. We are really exposed to so many. Just to correct a little bit, this Xingqiao Optical is actually O-Film. They have changed names, so that's O-film. But yeah, I mean, there are several. There are Truly, there are TSP, there are Primax, there are LVI, there are Foxconn, there are Rayprus, there are several Koreans, there are King Kong, Q-Tech, Sunwind, Isatec, many. They are all lining up in a big queue.
Have you implemented any recent improvements in the TLens product family lately, such as anti-reflecting coating, optical quality, focus range, stronger piezo aperture sizes, polymer, enhanced transmittance across the spectrum, and maybe a smaller TLens?
Yeah, I think the main improvement lately has been related to transmittance, anti-reflective coating. That is the main big activity which we have done, which is improving optical quality. So meaning light coming in is being less reflected and all will go into the sensor and the lens stack. So that coating is very important for getting as much as the light through the TLens as possible and minimize the reflection. So that has been the biggest thing. When it comes to focus range, that is directly related to stronger piezo. So that is an ongoing, I would say, research activity we have together with partners. When it comes to aperture size, this is a little bit back to what we're saying, smaller and bigger TLens. Both smaller and bigger TLens is on the design study at the moment. Nothing being built, but definitely something which will happen. Smaller is easier than bigger. Bigger, probably smaller can do exactly the same as the way we do today. Bigger TLens, significantly bigger TLens, probably would need a little bit different structure, but still same concept. 2 glass membranes, some kind of actuation and polymer. We are talking with customers which are asking about this and the roadmap, and they also being explained and giving a time schedule for when they can expect to see those products. So this is a matter of time and money, by the way. So this is optical. The polymer is something which we do. Take an example now. For different application areas, may need some different recipe for the polymer. So this is something we constantly potentially do some changes to. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Could you specify the verticals for the revenues of 4.1 million in the first quarter and 3.4 million in the second quarter, which were not linked to publicly announced orders in those quarters? Are these revenues related to previously announced design wins, PO, DI, or ongoing projects?
There is not a one-to-one. Say we announce an order in a quarter, there's definitely not a one-to-one that will be revenue that quarter. So we can't connect in this way. But what I can say, that there is more and more these kind of smaller things coming in, and individually they are not kind of significant, but in some, like say of that 4.1 million, a big part of that is actually related to healthcare, 3, 4, 5 customers. But each of them not so super big, meaning not a press release, but in some. So luckily we started to get these kind of smaller things. Second quarter, if I remember correctly, that was related to a pre-production fee we negotiated with the smartphone project which was cancelled. But remember, order intake and revenue doesn't necessarily happen in the same quarter.
Major Asian camera model makers like O-Film, Sunny Optical, Q-Tech, and others are showing quarter and year growth, with analysts predicting positive trends. Have you noticed an uptick in interest during recent meetings for poLight?
I think we answered that in the presentation.
After the positive response to Sharp's HMD prototype with a TLens camera model at CES in January, are there any projects involving this camera model with Sharp or other OEMs?
Sharp is doing a lot together with Kotatsu and in many segments with many customers. So we expect, and they show a lot of investment in this side. So I'm quite hopeful for that relationship, to be honest. So yes, I think we will see more from them.
Is poLight involved in early phases of partnership between Meta and Magic Leap for their new spatial computing device project?
What I can say that all the M's and the other big ones we are highly, I would say, related to and talking to without being specific.
The AR consumer market is hopefully just over a year away, and considering the positive feedback from Magic Leap TLS could potentially be a key component. How do you plan to ensure sufficient production capacity to meet the demand of this market?
I think the consumer big volume cases we are exposed to, I think they're more than 1 year away. I've been saying before. But yes, they seem to be coming, and we are very well positioned. We think T-Lens is a key component. T-Wedge is a key component for those markets. And when it comes to capacity, I'm just back from a few weeks of customer meetings, and this is exactly what the customer is asking us. And we need to document and prove that we are ready, that we are what should I say, that we have the capacity, that we have the people, that we have the organization, that we have the quality systems. You know, they are really drilling into all the details, the amazing details they drill into, both headquarters, at SD, at Tongxing in Philippines. And this is one of the key questions there are. So far, we have been managing to convince them that we are ready when you are ready.
You have an ongoing project with a very well-known VR manufacturer, and the product is nearing release. When can we anticipate a public announcement regarding design-in, design-win, or PO? Have component shipments to this customer started?
Yeah, we are sampling. If I understand the right, which case you're referring to, this is one of the cases which I said is planning to release end of this year, if everything goes as planned. And then we know not everything goes as planned, but that's one of the cases which we are hopeful can be launched this year.
The partnership you have with the very important, well-recognized player in the development of T-Wedge, are they also sharing the cost and risks of the development process?
We are actually selling technical samples T-Wedge for a very, very sizable number, a few tens K US dollar, mind you, and for a very, very small piece. And we have several who have bought that or want to buy it. And then we're also in discussion with key partners to receive potentially NRE for a purpose-made device. So the answer to that is yes.
You mentioned made to significant interest in T-Wedge and its potential related to AR glasses. How is the progress for this project?
That project has not kicked off yet.
Do you foresee autofocus becoming the standard of VR AR in the future?
Yeah, to be honest, we talked to many of them, and some of them are still moving around fixed focus because of lack of qualified technology. I'm amazed in a way that they dare to do it, because it will be a major issue potentially for them when it comes to athermalization or lack of it. Actually, our entrance into a Magic Leap 2 was exactly that problem. Oh shit, we have a problem. Do you have a solution? Yes, we have. I think more and more people will see that. I think, yes, in the end, I think it will be a standard to have AF. I think so.
Are there any OEMs that poLight might find too large to engage with currently?
I would say no, but there are OEMs which look at poLight as a little bit a risky partner because of size, of course, and capacity. But so far we have been able to massage that quite well. But that is a topic which we need to be aware of.
poLight has 2 active VR AR display solution projects, laser beam scanning and wobulation. Which solution do you expect to reach the market first, and which one could potentially offer more long-term value for poLight?
I think they will coexist. I think LBS will be a solution for for more simple messaging type device for all-day wear glasses. I think micro LED LCOS displays will be more like the high-end, being a big high-resolution screen using T-Wedge, hopefully. So I think there are two different applications. I think they will coexist. From a timing perspective, I think they will be relatively the same time, 26, 27, we don't know, but around there.
Is the growing inventory of wafers valued at cost or sale price? And can you estimate the inventory value in completed T-lenses?
It is historic cost, and then we have a system like when things becomes 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, we do a obsolescence provisions and you will see from annual reports. So that's a couple of handful of inventory as of per end of last year, I guess, and also from fixed T-lenses is a small handful of value of fixed T-lenses.
Is there currently any other tunable optics solutions with a similar level of compactness for the add-in solution as poLight T-lens?
I don't think so.
Is the newly released patent related to a larger aperture size from Sunny Optical connected to T-lens Platinum? And does it represent progress in the development of T-lens for back cameras? How is the progress for T-lens back cameras in general?
I think this general comment about patents, I think there are many patents, but they are very often patent application, and many of them we don't think will never be granted because they are going into an area where it's very populated with other IP from among others like us. But then also some of the patents are also very much, you can see, triggered by positioning themselves, freedom to operate. That particular patent, I think, yes, it seems to be very related to T-lens. Whether it's for backcam or not, I'm not sure. But if for backcam, they of course show a big interest. So yeah, potentially, we don't know for sure.
T-lens can be used passively without a piezo actuator for thermalization. Do you foresee this trend merging in the next few quarters? Also, in the verticals, are passive T-lens applications relevant?
I don't expect in the next short term. On our roadmap, we do have a T-lens which without actuation for athermalization. And as I said, it's quite an interesting application. One of the very expensive part with poLight T-lens is the actuation. It's what's happening on the MEMS fab. So if you could kind of have basically a glass membrane and a polymer mounted in a camera, and actually the thermal effect of a T-lens is having the opposite thermal effect on the rest of the camera, and hence is by design compensating. It's a super attractive thing, and we have customer who's trying that out. We haven't started any projects for making that kind of without actuation T-lens. We are starting to make a trademark application, to be honest, a T-lens we call it, and that so that's something in our mind, but it's not going to happen in the next couple of quarters.
When discussing upcoming projects with Meizu, are these projects primarily focused on smartphones, AR, automotive applications, or all of them?
Now, I would say that that was smartphone and AR has been the main thing, but we do of course know that the owner of Meizu and Xingyi Times is Geely, and Geely is owning Volvo, Polestar, so there is obviously an opportunity there to knock on some doors also when it comes to automotive, but that has not happened yet.
We see increasing revenue from non-publicly disclosed orders throughout the quarters. Could you clarify what should be closed and disclosed and what is compiled in quarterly reports?
I think we have addressed that, I feel. But of course, a big order we believe is significant and have an impact on the share price will be announced there and then. Smaller things, we do updates on a quarterly report.
Camera model makers have significant investments in developing camera models with T-lens. How much do they prioritize selling TLens models over VCM models? And what is poLight doing to enhance TLens priority among camera making models customers?
It's actually an extremely good question because some of the camera module suppliers, they do have VCM solution themselves. And of course, they would like to sell something to a customer which is as much as possible produced and developed by themselves. So if they can convince the customer to go that path, they will. I think it's a super good question and something we are very aware of. That's why we're spending 80% of the convincing and selling towards the OEM. And it's the OEM, it's the product owner who needs to dictate, use TLens. And then they don't have a choice.
Among compactness, low power consumption, fast focus speed, constant field of view, gravity, impact, magnetism, and thermalization, which key selling point do customers in various verticals value the most?
I think it's difficult. If I have to answer that, it's a super long answer, and I'm looking at the watch here now. It's starting to bore people, but I think many of them has high relevance in most of the market segments. I think it's a quick answer. Sorry.
poLight sent out a message that there was a very good reception for the Meizu 20 Infinity. Can you tell us a little about this?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it already. It's super good performance feedback, small size, small hole in the screen, speed, smooth focus, all these good things, all in focus, touch and refocus. I think we mentioned that. I think it's super good performance feedback, but there is a cost issue.
The Meizu phone was the first project with a number of lenses which were to be delivered in an incredibly short time, and which had the potential to stress the organization production testing. Can you say something about how the yield has been on this batch of lenses?
I don't want to use exact numbers, but what I can say, we can see from start of that project to we shipped out this 100 plus in 3 weeks, significant improvement on yield was seen, as expected.
Do you still work?
And by the way, that yield work is continuing. As we speak, we have bi-weekly top management meeting where we are drilling into the details on the yield work and super important activity in the company. That's one of the improvement projects I'm talking about.
Do you still work with smartphone customers both in China and other parts of the world, or can you say which parts of the world?
I think we are exposed to worldwide cases.
Can you say something about whether there are more camera module makers that have been ready adding designs?
Yeah, there are as you know, the Sunny, then Sharp Gatetsu, Foxconn. Those are, I would say, the most advanced, and then we expect more to come.
Can you say something about how things are going with a large tier 1 customer in medical? Lenses for POCs have been delivered. How is the way forward towards a possible launch design win here?
Yeah, I mentioned that in the presentation. It's super positive progress, and we hope that first half next year, that we will see some kind of progress which is moving from POC to more mature stage. But it's still quite a long way to go, but so far so good, and hope that there will be some milestone to be passed next year, and for hopefully first half next year.
Such large projects are interesting in terms of volume. Can you say whether you work with more such potential volume customers?
Yeah, we are involved in many endoscope cases, I would say. But I would say that so far we don't see the volumes being extremely high. Can be. Going back to laparoscope and disposable laparoscopes, of course, volume could be very significant. But the other important thing here is the price point. Whereas the price point in the consumer market is low, price point in this market can be 10-20 times more.
It is very impressive to see that the Kavli project provides a very solid revenue contribution, far beyond what I have expected. How do you envision projects with a similar design going forward? Will there be more similar cases?
Yeah, it's a good question because for me also it has been surprising to see what this has given us. Also from revenue perspective, I've always been saying that I don't expect anything more. But now I think there are 2 or 3 commercial companies which is starting to sell to worldwide labs. And what I learned also when I visited Kavli is that there are many of these labs. I don't know, hundreds. And these are not only having one setup, they have many setups. And the mouse is destroying the system. So it's not everlasting. It's lasting maybe for a year and then they have to change. So you never know, huh? Can be much more important than we ever envisaged.
Can you say something about the VR customers you work with? Are there only small players or do you also work with big players in VR?
We work with many of them, small and big.
I am curious about the display customers who had a POC order quite a long time ago, because it seems like very large and a serious player. Can you say something about which technical solution this is? I have understood that this is something other than camera solution, and I wonder if this is about laser beam scanning, mirroring, or something else.
You have some intricate, complex questions, but and I understand why. But this is a customer. I think we announced this customer in March 2022. I think it was a value of 3.5 million, quite a big. And they are planning using TLens. It's a display solution. It's a big player. More I can't say.
What does the interest in TWedge look like now? Is it the case that you are approaching a decision to start designing a new project?
I think we have handled that one, Alf Henning.
If there is a lot of activity with TWedge and projects there, would you consider separating TWedge as a separate category in the project table so that we can follow this development more specifically there?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. To be decided when, and there is, as I said in the presentation, still a board decision to be taken there. And if it's positive, we will start reporting that when it's launched in a separate kind of line. Yes.
Very many customers seem to have come a long way with designing scanners with TLens. How does this vertical look in terms of possible design wins going forward?
I think it's interesting to see that those starting to use it seem to be taking it to a broader portfolio, very positive, and having those references is key for getting new ones. Very important.
You are involved in some really great prestige projects from, among others, Teledyne, Hiko Robot, and Honeywell. How do such projects affect further work with customers? Example, does TLens appear exclusive and expensive, or do they get feedback from customers that it is quality and they could image, and that more people consider TLens because these big customers have products?
Yeah, I think it's again a fair point. Those references are key. Getting into those names are very difficult, and I think it's only serving us good.
Can you say something about how the work with various web cameras with laptop cameras is going?
I think it's quite slow. They are very cost concerned also, but we are having some activities, and we do position us there. But I would say no big progress during the quarter, but we are hammering on that area also, as I mentioned.
The cost difference.
I think we need to put 5 minutes more maybe, and then we need to to open for the audience.
Okay. The cost difference between a T-lens-based autofocus camera, a non-autofocus, and VCM-based autofocus solution is mainly due to less mature assembly process for the add-in designs at the camera module partners. Yeah. How are poLight plan to get the cost down?
I think we have answered to that during the presentation.
From a market perspective, it could be arguing that poLight should contemplate participating in the development of mobile application tailored to leverage the benefits of the Mate 20 Infinity and potential future smartphone front-facing cameras for selfie purposes. Would this be a consideration for you?
Yes, and we have done that already together with Wooptix, remember, Alma Lens. But what we see is that the OEMs, they like to do that software themselves. So that's so far at least our experience. They like to do those because they don't like to pay royalty to a software company. So that's something we see.
I think this is the last one. You just announced that you are joining CES 2024 in January. Yeah. Will you do a talk there or exhibit?
Yeah, let's see. I will at least be there, and I will do a lot of talking. But whether I will be on the stage or in the video is to be decided. I have one question from Dan Ekelund, who's traveling. Dan Ekelund has a couple of questions. One of the questions is related to moving now poLight from a development company to a commercial company. Are you prepared, and what do you need to do? And I think what we need to do is what we are doing. We are building the organization, we are building capacity, we're building quality, and that's very, very important and focused for us. And then we should open some few questions through the audience. Our board chair has the microphone. Here's one coming.
Yes, you have said before
I think it's not working, is it? It is? Okay, good. Yes, it is working.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
You have said before that you spend most of your energy on the mobile phone market and mobile phone customers. But due to now you're saying that the development in the mobile market is not so, they're not prioritizing new stuff. Mm-hmm. Are you changing your energy use into other markets now because of this?
Energy? What do you mean?
Your energy, your time.
Well, energy. Sorry, yeah. Energy. No, we are really, of course, we are extremely busy supporting AR/VR customer, and they are really big names which are taking a lot of our, I would say, capacity. So in a way, we have to steer the resources and the energy where you kind of feel the biggest and the most important opportunity at the moment. And at the moment, the innovation, as I said, is happening in the AR/VR space. But I would say that we are also very active. We are spending a lot of time on the market on convincing both camera module guys and smartphone guys to move with us. Even though it's kind of difficult, you can never stop hammering the door. You can never go there. I'm flying to Asia for 2 weeks on Monday, and this is all about being there, showing face, drinking coffee and tea to kind of build a relationship. So I think that, but of course the customer project is kind of steering us in certain directions. I think I would say it's a fair statement that AR/VR is taking a lot of effort. Having said that, the synergy from a tech perspective between those two segments is very high.
I'm glad to hear.
About NDAs with different companies, can you say something about what they can demand of secrecy from poLight and what you're obligated to share as public information? Is a PO the only thing you are obligated to share publicly?
And now, so we are in an NDA. I mean, we have like a statement saying that if there is something we by law or by rules need to disclose to market, we can do that. But I would say any news and information which we believe has an impact on share price, we need to disclose. Sometimes you need to disclose. You need to disclose by unnamed. What should I say? Without naming the name of the company. And this is why when we do a quarterly update, we talk about all these fantastic opportunities and the pipeline, but they are most often we don't allow to say the name. So it's but an NDA is nothing. Signing an NDA with a big guy is nothing we would kind of see as a thing to be announced because you never know, an NDA can only be there for kind of opening up a discussion, and it's too far away to understand what it can imply. I don't know if I exactly managed to answer a question, but yeah. Okay. Okay. One last question.
Smartwatches is kind of drowning in your presentation. Can you say something about the outlook here?
Yes, yes, I agree with you. It's kind of droning. Yes, but we are exploring smartphone-related application, I would say. I am amazed, to be honest, and if you go back to the quarterly presentation when we talked about smartwatches, I was so bullish about what I thought this could mean. And I'm still amazed. I have the latest Ultra 2 from Apple. I'm still amazed that these kind of big watches cannot place a camera in there. I'm amazed. You know, this is a phone. You get SMSs, you get mails, you get everything. Out jogging or out fishing, only thing you need is this with a camera. I can't understand why it's not moving. I think it's a matter of time. But we are exploring that market still. Okay. I'm exhausted and I'm happy for so many questions. I like that dynamic. I think it's so much better presentation. I think you contribute a lot to that. So thank you all. Thank you for those following us on webcast, which I'm sure is a few hundred. Thanks for filling up the audience also today. We're going to work hard to create values for you and us. And next time we're going to meet is Q4 2023, and it's related to the Q4's 23, and it's 27th of February. So we have Pinnekjøtt, lutefisk before that, and see you next time. Thank you all.